Welcome to Arrow News Channel. Like and subscribe to update news around the world. Although the Never Trump movement and the Democrats will never admit it, President Trump has had an awesome first year in office. President Donald J. Trump had what can be coined as the best first year for any president in U.S. history since Franklin D. Roosevelt took office as the Great Depression was winding down. And these great accomplishments were possible even though the corrupt Barack Hussein Obama administration and the Democrat Party along with their lackeys in the mainstream media have done nothing but try to convince people we are in the worst times our nation has never seen. President Trump was inaugurated on January 20, 2017. Only 1 year short ago today, and since then his accomplishments have been nothing short of spectacular with a touch of miraculous. Along with the fact that he has kept every promise he made during the campaign season, from putting America and Americans first, to fixing our dismal economy under Obama, to making good on judicial appointments and cracking down on illegal aliens in our nation. Complete list of Trump's first-year accomplishments. The economy. The U.S. stock market is a barometer of economic activity, and since President Trump was elected president it has skyrocketed. The stock market on Wednesday, January 17, 2018, this past week, says it all. On that day the Dow broke 26,000 points for the first time in its history. As a result the Dow broke the record for the fastest 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 and 7,000 point increases between major milestones in the history of the Dow. All of these increases occurred since Donald Trump was elected president. The Dow today stands at 26,071.7. It is up 42% since the 2016 election and 31% since last year's inauguration. The Dow had more all-time closing highs in 2017 than any year in history. President Trump enjoys 95 all-time highs since his election and 78 since his inauguration. The Dow is up an amazing 7,739 points since the election. Americans of all walks of life are seeing their 401ks explode because of President Trump. Today there are more people working than at any time in U.S. history. More than 2 million new jobs were created in 2017 under President Trump, and as a result more than 160 million people are working in the U.S. today. President Trump increased the GDP growth rate to above 3% in the second and third quarters, and the fourth quarter was sizzling. President Trump could reach a 3% GDP growth rate his first year in office, an annual GDP that the U.S. hasn't seen in a decade. At the end of the third quarter the national GDP reached $19.5 billion for the highest recorded GDP in U.S. history. The president's tax plan passed in late December and is already benefiting Americans and American companies. Employees will see increases in their pay next month due to the lower federal taxes. Millions of Americans have received bonuses due to the tax cuts, and major companies have announced plans to move capital and operations to the U.S. due to these cuts. The benefits of these cuts haven't even transpired yet, but the excitement amongst workers and companies is electric. 2018 is poised to have one of the greatest economies in U.S. history. Foreign policy. President Trump vowed to destroy ISIS. Despite President Obama saying that ISIS will be around for a generation, these murderers and terrorists in the Middle East were decimated over the past year. Both Syria and Iraq have declared victory over ISIS, and due to President Trump's resolve, less than 1,000 ISIS fighters are estimated remaining. President Trump met with the Pope, leaders of 50 Muslim countries and Israeli and European leaders in his first trip abroad. He demanded that the Muslim leaders remove radicals from their countries. The president refused sending Pakistan security assistance in the millions due to the Pakistanis harboring terrorists. He stopped an Obama last-minute $221 million transfer to Palestine and cut aid to Palestinians in half. He showed that the U.S. is unwilling to work with Muslim entities that support radical Islam. On President Trump's successful trip to Asia he bundled an estimated $300 billion in deals for the U.S. He met with Asian leaders and was the first U.S. president and foreign leader to dine in China's Forbidden City since the founding of modern China. U.S. policy. The president named and successfully put in place a new Supreme Court Justice, Neil Gorsuch. He signed more than 90 executive actions in his first 100 days alone. The actions include dismantling Obama's climate change initiatives, travel bans for individuals from a select number of countries embroiled in terrorist atrocities, enforcing regulatory reform, protecting law enforcement, mandating for every new regulation to eliminate two, defeating ISIS, rebuilding the military, building a broader wall, cutting funding for sanctuary cities, approving Keystone and Dakota pipelines, reducing regulations on manufacturers, placing a hiring freeze on federal employees, exiting the U.S. from the TPP. What an awesome year it has been. And he is only getting started. In contrast, by this point in the Barack Hussein Obama presidency, we had huge unemployment numbers and were growing every day. We were bleeding jobs at a breakneck speed and our deficit was set to double under the huge entitlement plans the Democrat Party was promoting. We had a president who took the time to go to every nation who hates us and apologize for what he coined as our arrogance and need to force our own culture on the rest of the world. He would put us Americans down every chance he had, while at the same time propping up our enemies and cultures that are nowhere near as great as ours and who have never contributed to society anywhere near as much as we have. Please share if you can't wait to see what President Trump accomplishes in year 2.